our next speaker. We're privileged to have this gentleman who's a beautiful soul, a beautiful warrior, and I feel like he's now my new brother. Vincent Gerses began this journey of the freedom movement back at Adamson's Barbecue when he attended it, when the police came in on force to shut it down. And at some point in that protest, Vincent got on the back of a pickup truck and he spoke to the crowd, and he gave some words of encouragement to the crowd that was there protesting on behalf of Adamson's Barbecue. And then he spoke to the police officers and he reminded them of their oath, and he asked them to follow their oath. Since then, Vincent went to Ottawa for the truckers' convoy. He became part of the leadership team there. You might have remember he sat down with Danny Beaufort and who else was it, Vincent? Eddie Cornell, and delivered messages on behalf of the Freedom Convoy. Vincent has been a steadfast warrior for truth. He's come here to Kelowna to spend a little bit of time with us. We're privileged to have him. So Vincent, come and share your wisdom and your heart with us, church.
Thank you. It is a privilege to be here. It certainly is. My message is not only to you, but it is to the men and women of law enforcement who really need to pay attention. You here already understand what I'm about to say. I'm just going to echo what everybody else has said. I'm going to confirm what everybody else has said. I'm going to confirm your beliefs. And I'll try to maybe give you an understanding of where things could go. So, to my fellow colleagues in law enforcement still working, men and women in law enforcement, I can tell you here, this group, that there are thousands of men and women in law enforcement who stand by you and who adhere to their oaths by not only what they do, but what they refuse to do. And around this world, in all countries, in the Western nations and the Confederation, there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of officers who stand by their people and follow their oaths and understand what is going on. The concern is those that do not. And quite simply, officers have an obligation to do two things primarily: enforcement and investigations. And when we conduct investigations, if I were to just listen to one person's story or one perspective, if I were to believe that, I would have to put faith in that, because it's only one perspective. And we would need multiple perspectives, various perspectives, before we can determine what really went on in any investigation. And in this entire event, we have only had one perspective, this carefully crafted narrative that has bombarded us continuously. Our media has been purchased by corporations. We are now being run by a corporate fascistic state that has taken control and is running this narrative with this single narrative. You are not allowed to speak against the narrative. If you do, you'll be censored. You're bombarded with propaganda and refuse to speak. So we are on a trajectory. We are on a downward trajectory. Economically, socially, in our educational system, in our healthcare system, in our justice system. We are heading into the ground. And I don't think anybody here is going to disagree with that. And for those in law enforcement, they see it as well. If there's anybody in this crowd from law enforcement videotaping this, please take this back to your unit commander and play it over to everybody within your station. You see what is happening, you understand the trajectory. Yet many within this organization or these police organizations have chosen to do nothing, have chosen not to speak out, have chosen to remain silent. Look over there in the garden. look at the tulips. You see tulips growing. Wonderful. Let me tell you about today in tulips. Yesterday, 78 years ago, yesterday, the British Columbia Dragoons from the Canadian military landed in the Netherlands to free the Dutch. 78 years ago, yesterday. Today, 73 years ago, they were in battle with the Nazis, pushing the Germans out. They sacrificed their lives. They traveled across the world to fight a battle for freedom. And today in the Netherlands, this is known as Freedom Day. The Netherlands do not have their freedom. We in Canada do not have our freedom. We have not had our freedom. And we are all here concerned that we may not get our freedom back. If you look at this group among you, we are an aging population. I don't know where all the teenagers are. I don't know where the young generation is, the future generation. But I see the trajectory of our future generations, and it is very concerning. We need to know that we have God on our side. We need to know that we will get through this, because we know that what we are experiencing is wrong. This group, I'm sure, is smaller than it usually was. I'm from Ontario. Our groups are small now as well. But it is important that you continue to come. It is important that you continue to speak out. It is important that you speak the truth and never stop, because we will not be silenced. I thank you all for having the courage to come here. I understand in this fascistic city now that you're required to have a permit to protest. Thank goodness this is not a protest. This is a peaceful gathering of loving people. If this were a protest, they would know it. Thank you. Continue with your courage. Continue this fight. Continue gathering. And continue speaking the truth. Because you are a group that understands what is happening. You get it. And unfortunately, many do not. Many do not understand. Continue sharing your love with the other side. Continue sharing your love with everyone. Treating everyone with respect and dignity. We have been dehumanized over the last 3 years. This war on humanity that we will not allow. We will continue to fight. We will not stop. And we will die standing before we get on our knees. Thank you.
That's our Vincent.